We'll give you 1 day of your rental for free. Why the name Yachts on Wheels? Some Hollywood actors came and we bought 10 motorhomes, and then we didn't know what to do with them. Motorhomes are relevant to everybody. Sooner or later there comes a time in every person's life when they need one. Why the ship's wheel? The life of a simple Russian company. Why this logo design? If I don't go anywhere for a month, I feel uncomfortable. Our trophy from the World Cup? This is basically a small, stylish boat. Only it doesn't float. It drives on the highway. Hi. Today we'll tell you about the history of the Russian market leader in RV sales and rentals, Yachts on Wheels. This is Yuri Nepomnyashchikh, the founder of the company. Today we'll look at the office and the garage and talk about where it all started and how this idea was born. So, where did it start? Well, I bought my first motorhome in 2005, and we immediately got visas and went to Scotland in it as a family. We liked the country so much that after visiting for the first time in our motorhome, we flew there to visit for our very next vacation. So we were able to compare what's more convenient, to travel in a motorhome or to travel in a rental car. Logistics are much easier when you're in a motorhome. You have maximum autonomy and you are independent. If you're tired, you stop, park at any gas station, spend the night, take a shower in the morning, have breakfast, and continue on your way. At that time, it wasn't just Russia that had bad roads. There were bad roads all over Europe. When we were driving through Poland, the motorhome was rocking back and forth like this because they only had old beat-up roads from Soviet times. It was so extreme, there was so much adrenaline that my family couldn't get me out from behind the wheel. I drove and drove, stopped and slept for 4 hours, then drove again all day. We saw all of Scotland. It's very convenient to travel there in a motorhome. They have many cities and castles. Of course, a motorhome allows you to quickly move between two places, and memories of that trip have stayed with us for a lifetime. And in fact, then I realized that there's nothing like a motorhome, and I decided to get into the RV business 15 years ago. I worked for many years in television. I produced various TV projects and organized rock concerts. So I was familiar with what a motorhome is from my work, because motorhomes are essential for wardrobe, makeup, when you're shooting anything for television. When we entered the market in 2008, there were about 10 companies in Russia that were selling motorhomes, and the competition was very tough. But our choice of reliable European companies, such as Adria, Fiat, helped us, because other companies took risks with some cheaper Italian brands, and they quickly went bankrupt and they left the market. It probably wasn't a coincidence that we became leaders in the market. We invested a lot of money in maintenance. We have a separate building here at the Cosmos Hotel where our mechanics work. They have accumulated invaluable experience. Sometimes we even have situations where a customer has a breakdown somewhere at night on a highway, in the middle of nowhere, several thousand kilometers away from Moscow, and we can't tow him to a garage. In those cases, our mechanics can consult the customer over the phone, and very often they're able to fix the problem together remotely. That's because they've accumulated so much experience. Even official dealers of other brands turn to us for help. When can customers call you? At any time of day, or how does it work? What are your hours, in case anybody needs to know? Well, we have a hotline available around the clock. They work 24/7. Of course, if a client has a vehicle on a trip, he or she may have some kind of emergency. They may have small children and they may need some advice, so we have to come to the rescue immediately. Welcome. Meet our rental department. This is Snezhana Viktorovna. Arkady Vladimirovich takes care of maintenance, and this is our service center. Here, we service both the rental fleet of motorhomes and clients' motorhomes. And meet Sergei Yakovlevich, who's been working with us for 10 years, or has it been 11 already? Probably. He's been working with me since the beginning when I was running the company from my house. So before each rental, if necessary, the vehicles are serviced here? Yes, a full refueling and instruction. The instruction lasts about an hour, and Sergei Yakovlevich tells each client how to use the stove, how to use the toilet, the water, the gas, the refrigerator, and all the systems of the motorhome. It's not very difficult, but there's a lot to learn the first time you get into such extreme tourism. Just 3 days ago, a man came in and said, "I want a vehicle to travel in with my wife." "No problem," I said. In half an hour, he left with the motorhome. Really? Yeah, we just pulled it into the bay here, warmed it up, and filled it up with water. Here we have the advertising department. Alexander runs our YouTube channel, and we find out about everything new from him. And what is this certificate? Is it from your partners? Yes. We did some training courses. Here, this is Hymer. This is Adria and Fleetwood, an American company. We also bring in American motorhomes when clients request them. Dometic makes air conditioners. We learned how they do everything, and now we have some of our own know-how, some specific things to the Russian market. And how does the training work? Do you send an employee to take some kind of course? We pay for the training, and a person flies over there and learns. And the certificates, they're related to that? Yes, usually after each training course we get a certificate. We've done training over the years, I don't know, probably at 10 different factories. Different manufacturers of components for motorhomes. We need to be able to repair any equipment here in Russia. Whether it's a refrigerator, a toilet, air conditioner, an awning. We have to know how to repair everything. And for our 10th anniversary, we were given this group portrait. I think the characters are all ready now, so we can make an anime series about the life of a simple Russian company that has already sent more than 3,000 Russian families into space, you could say. I mean, the rentals. And how did people react in general? I mean, did you start to sell out your inventory right away? Or did it take a lot of work and advertising? How quickly did everything develop, and who was involved in it all? It was a funny story. In 2008, when the economic crisis was in full swing, we bought 10 motorhomes and didn't know what to do with them. So, how did we get our first customers? We took 2 motorhomes, we created a company and plastered 2 motorhomes with ads for Yachts on Wheels and put them along the Garden Ring Road in the center of Moscow. These were still the holy years when parking on the Garden Ring was free. And so these 2 RVs brought us our first customers. And during the first new year, from 2008 to 2009, we rented out all 10 vehicles. All 10 RVs were picked up, but the customers were very surprised because we opened a new company and the RVs were all parked around my house in my little neighborhood. People would come to my house and my wife prepared tea and coffee for them. We would sit down at the table at home, and people felt like they were part of the family. By the way, those customers still keep coming back. Somehow they remembered us as a nice family company, and well, really, that's what we are. The first 6 months were the hardest. It was especially difficult in the winter when we didn't know all the nuances of RVs to fill the water, drain the water, but we overcame everything and learned. And now we could do it blindfolded, as they say. When we earned our first money, we moved to Moscow and opened our office in the Cosmos Hotel. And then the company began to work like any normal Russian company with an office in Moscow. Clients come here, and right in the Cosmos Hotel, we have a garage, a parking lot, and the office here, where we hand them the keys. The first customers who rented RVs then started coming and asking if they could buy one. They fell in love with caravanning as a style of travel, and they wanted to buy a motorhome for themselves. And then we worked with Adria and started importing our first motorhomes for sale. In those years, they were all alcove motorhomes. At that time, all motorhomes were the alcove model. And then a few years later, the semi-integrated models came out when an electric bed was invented, which comes down from the ceiling of the motorhome. And these more modern, more stylish vehicles began to displace the alcoves from the market. And we started to specialize in these semi-integrated motorhomes, like this one behind you. That's the Matrix from Adria. It immediately became a bestseller. We've sold quite a lot of them, and we still sell them. They're built on a Fiat Ducato chassis, which is a very reliable chassis. They last 500,000 kilometers. For the average Russian family, the engine service life is probably enough for 20 years. 10 years later, when we got the Hymer license, it turned out that the Hymer specializes more in Mercedes. And we have dedicated this year to Mercedes. We carry motorhomes based on the Mercedes Sprinter, and the timing worked out great, as they just updated the exterior and interior of them, and now it is a super modern vehicle with autopilot. And we bring them in and offer them on the market to our customers. And this is our trophy from the 2018 FIFA World Cup. All of our 20 vehicles were rented out. Fans from all over the world rented them. Latin America, Arabs, Australians, everybody was here. And it turned out that the most convenient way to get around during the World Cup was a motorhome, to travel between participating cities from stadium to stadium. And we were proud to represent our country. And campsites were built near all the stadiums. Everything was done to the very highest standards. All our vehicles were rented out. All our customers were very happy. They wrote us great reviews, and we were amazed. People from Latin America came to our office here and said, "You don't even understand what a beautiful country you live in." So your clients from abroad come to the Cosmos Hotel and you immediately offer them, "Look, you can travel and see Russia." Well, we usually bring the motorhome right to the airport when they arrive. Oh, really? Yeah, they contact us in advance and book a contract with Snezhana. They arrive and the motorhome is waiting for them with the driver. We go to the airport, we give them some instruction, and off they go. We've worked on a lot of projects. One that stood out was working with the director/producer Timur Bekmambetov. Hollywood actors came and their writers state that they should each have their own motorhome. And we are the only ones in Russia who can provide that many motorhomes. They filmed all over Moscow, and they were accompanied everywhere by a motorhome with the driver. Everything was done to the highest standards. They had their own drivers. They were our drivers. Oh, so you provided them with drivers too? Yes, cool. Well, our drivers know how to service the vehicles too. Our clients have even included the president of Russia and the president of Belarus. Motorhomes are relevant to everybody. Sooner or later, there comes a time in every person's life when they need one. They serve their purpose. We're constantly updating our fleet. We are constantly trying to sell slightly older models and buy new fresh ones. So you can also buy used RVs from us. Prices start at 2.5 million rubles for a normal 6-berth used motorhome, which we calculate has passed half of its lifespan, about 200,000 kilometers, and should last the family about the same amount of additional kilometers. Customers who buy them are happy because the vehicles we use for rentals are all well maintained. We treat them as our beloved children. We already had a client buy an RV with 250,000 kilometers on it. He went to Turkey, then he went to Crimea, and now he's riding around the Golden Ring of Russia, and the vehicle continues to serve his family faithfully. By the way, Yuri, before I forget, you promised a gift for your subscribers, as I understand, for the best comment, or rather, the best question. So ask any question related to motorhomes or suggest a topic that you would like to hear more about, and in the following videos, we will address your questions. And you will choose the winner in the next videos. So, what is the gift? We'll give you 1 day of a rental for free. You can choose any motorhome. We have a minimum contract of 3 days, and 1 day will be free. So you pay for 2, and the third is on us. Okay, so leave your questions in the comments and we'll try to answer them in 2 or 3 weeks in one of our videos. Or we may even post a separate video with some of the answers on the channel. Now, I wonder, why the name Yachts on Wheels? Why the ship's wheel? Why this logo? Where did the idea come from? I was very impressed by the very first motorhome that I bought. It reminded me a lot of a yacht. It's like a stylish little boat, only it doesn't float. You drive it around the highways, on our roads, but it is equipped just as a yacht. The galley is a kitchen, you have the head with a shower and a toilet, berths, a mess deck, a dining area. Everything just has different names, but really it's all the same. And by the way, many companies entered the European and American markets building yachts, then later began producing motorhomes. That's why we decided to name the company Yachts on Wheels. And to be honest, we made a good choice, because every year our vehicles are becoming more and more like yachts. More and more manufacturers are installing smart systems in them with beautiful finishing materials that they are living up to the name more and more. What's the company's mission? How would you put it? From the start, we came to this market with a serious mission to promote caravanning in Russia. We carefully study all new products, all the latest trends in the world, in this market, and we are developing the company in multiple directions, as we want as many people as possible to be able to afford this type of vacation in Russia, because it is wonderful. The first task that we faced was to introduce Russia to the concept of motorhomes in general. Really, we were some of the pioneers of caravanning, and we really liked it, and we liked traveling. We realized that Europeans caravan a lot, and Americans caravan a lot, and in general it's a very popular thing all over the world. Well, and in Russia, there was very little interest in motorhomes initially. I believe that we brought most of all the motorhomes in Russia into the country. We are now opening branches in other regions. We have a branch in Tyumen, a branch in Gorno-Altaysk. A large branch was recently opened in the city of Rostov-on-Don, and this is very significant. This way, we can deliver our services directly to the consumer without having them come to Moscow. It's becoming less exotic. The idea that somewhere in Moscow or somewhere in Europe you can rent a motorhome. We can deliver to people's homes in Altai Republic, in the south of Russia, Rostov, Siberia, and Tyumen, no problem. Our mission is to have branches in at least all the cities with 1 million or more people, so that people can vacation close to home. We have a lot to see. Around Moscow we have the Golden Ring. In the south, we have a huge number of attractions, the entire Caucasus, Crimea, and Sochi. One of our first trips was to Abkhazia. We loved that republic. Now it's very popular to travel to Georgia and Armenia, and those who have already reached Georgia and Armenia through the mountain pass can go on to Azerbaijan and Turkey. People are trying out more and more routes. If we look to the east, we have the beautiful Ural Mountains, then Gorno-Altaysk, then Baikal. There are places to go all over the country. Several of our RVs are in Primorsky Krai, in Vladivostok, Nakhodka. Beautiful beaches. We've driven right up to them. Of course, we've studied the market of campsites, which unfortunately is not developed yet in Russia. There are 20,000 campsites in Europe, and in any city you can find a place to park and spend the night, fill up your water, and get all the necessary services. We don't have this yet. We have a growing market, but we built our first campsite in Russia. Then we built a campsite in Croatia. and we learned all the ins and outs of this business. And I think that if the government ever decides to promote caravanning in Russia, we can be very helpful, and we will be happy to bring all this experience from Europe to Russia. Because campsites are a separate area of the tourism industry. There are 7 million motorhomes in Europe, and they've already traveled to all the corners of their regions, so it would be very interesting for them to come and see Russia. But for this, we need garages, we need the necessary campsites, we need places for caravanners to go, and these people are grateful. They'll bring lots of money to the tourist industry of the country. Choosing a motorhome now in the world of information technology is much easier. We run 3 YouTube channels for our clients and post up-to-date reviews of the latest innovations. We constantly go to all the biggest exhibitions in Europe and provide video reports of motorhomes and trailers. All this can be seen on our channel. Usually the people who are coming to see us now have already watched the video reviews, and they come with a specific choice in mind. They already know what they want. When we started, it was very difficult. We had a stack of catalogs with 200 brands from Europe. Where do you start? What do you show the client? Neither the client nor the salesperson knew where to look first. We didn't know what to offer. Many customers start with a rental. They rent a motorhome, take it for a ride. They figure out what they need, what they don't need, what fits the requirements of their family, and after the rental, they are more prepared to make a purchase. And how much time do you spend every year in motorhomes? Well, I guess I'm like a taxi driver. I do about 100,000 kilometers a year. I calculated that I've driven more than 1 million kilometers in the last 10 years. Wow. Big American trucks are thrown out after 1 million kilometers. I'm still rolling on. Well, I really like it. It's just a lifestyle. It's in my blood now. If I haven't gone anywhere for a month, I start to feel uncomfortable. It's like a drug in a good way. You get behind the wheel and you go. You can see all of Europe, all of Russia, and everywhere you go, you have a home, you have a bed, a restaurant, everything you need in your motorhome.